All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You already know what time it is. We got a late night interview going on right here. We are joined by phenomenal Canadian punk rock group. We got Trashed Ambulance right here in the building, on live on YouTube, and of course the radio station dial. How are you guys doing this evening?
Good.
Doing good, man. Thanks for having us.
Hey man, you're most certainly welcome. Hope your guys' holidays are actually going as well as planned. Because I know when it comes to holidays, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I hope it's going relatively smoothly for you guys.
Pretty good. We just ran into the Grinch together like 2 hours ago, so that's always a good good start.
I have to ask, how was that show? Because I know we're here to talk about punk rock and not the Grinch, but I'm honestly curious, man. How was that show actually seeing that live on stage?
Oh no, like this, there was a dude walking around dressed as a Grinch. Not the actual.
we didn't go.
I thought it was like a legit show, but hey, man, that's pretty cool. At least they have something cool for the kids and whatnot, man.
Yep.
My kid did not like the Grinch at all. She was crying. She's only a year and a half.
I think every kid has cried at the Grinch at least once or twice in their life, man. I watched the Jim Carrey one when I was a kid, and I'm not gonna lie to you, he kind of haunted my nightmares for about a week or so.
It's a creepy dude for sure.
But also, guys, I want to take you back to the beginning, man. For the individuals that aren't quite familiar with Trashed Ambulance, man, I was wondering if you could introduce yourselves individually, and of course, tell us a bit more about yourselves, man, as Trashed Ambulance.
Yeah, I'm Josh. I play guitar and sing in the band. I'm, I guess, one of the founding guys. Started this back in 2014. Yeah, grew up in Saskatchewan, ended up in Red Deer, Alberta, and that's where the band is located, where headquarters is. And yeah, we just been doing this punk rock thing for when was 2014? We're getting up there. 8 years old now. So been doing it a while.
I got to say, man, 2014 is it definitely feels like yesterday, man, but it's actually quite a ways away.
I had to do the math in my head there. I'm like, holy cow, it's 2023 next year. How the hell did that happen? Can we swear?
Oh, we're completely uncensored, man. Definitely swear away.
Oh.
You can't have a punk rock radio station without some swearing, man.
Okay. Want to make sure. Didn't want to get the FCC or whatever it is in Canada up your butt.
Yeah, but right now we're currently just on the internet. I'm trying to get us to the FM dial, but I hate censoring music, so I might just keep it internet based for now.
Fair enough, man.
But also, I have to ask you guys, man, what is the origin story behind Trashed Ambulance? I do know you guys went through a lot of different members before you actually found the 3 perfect members for this group. I was wondering, can you tell us a bit more about the origin of this, and how did you guys actually come together as one?
I'll let Ozone say this, even though he wasn't around when he started, but he's actually been in this band in every instrument. So he can kind of talk about how him and I started playing music together and then how it led into this band.
Yeah, I think we met in like 2009, 2010, and then we played in Chimp Change together for a couple years. And I ended up moving away for a bit. So I moved back to Canada, to like Calgary, in 2015, and Trash was just getting going. I think you guys had played like 2 or 3 shows, and we're in the middle of recording an album. So I was like, hey, I'll jump on a guitar and start playing guitar. So did that for a couple years, and then when I had kids, I stopped just because I was living too far away. And then I don't know, you went through a couple other guitar players after I left, and then didn't work out. So I think you just decided 3 pieces easier, be a trio. And then a couple years later, what?
Power trio. That's what the guy playing bass kept saying. Let's just do the power trio, man. We don't need the other guitar player.
So then I filled in again on drums when the drummer moved away for, I think, one EP, a couple singles, and then a couple shows. And then it just, I don't know. It just kind of pre-COVID stopped playing for a bit. And then anyways, I ended up moving just outside of Red Deer. So I'm like, well, I'm in the area now. My kids are getting older. Should probably get this going again. And in the meantime, Josh found Riley somehow on Kijiji. It's like, well, I got a really good drummer now if you want to come back and try bass. So there we are.
I gotta say, when you find some pretty cool stuff on Kijiji, man. I've seen a lot of band postings in my area as well, man. And sometimes it makes me wish that I actually could play guitar or drums. But honestly, that's why I just spin your guys' music, because I suck.
So do we.
Hey, but you know what? At the end of the day, you guys can actually play instruments. Me, I jammed with my buddy a couple weeks back, and he just said, "Hey, man, get on the guitar and try." It was just fucking noise, guys. I'm telling you, like it was a disgrace. I was like, man, I can't touch this guitar anymore. It's a disgrace to everything I believe in. I'm just gonna go back and spin the records.
Oh, come on, man. Stick with it.
But also as well, man, you in 2016, you guys actually released the phenomenal 13-track album titled Blurry Thoughts. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this earlier release project, and of course, is it actually still out there to actually be streamed or purchased today in 2022?
Yeah, so that's when he said that when he came back, we were in the middle of recording. We just did that all ourselves, like in my basement. And so he kind of came in and I was doing all the guitar and he's like, "Oh, I'll add second guitar." So he hopped in and did that kind of on the fly, like pretty much learned them as he was recording them. But to answer your second question, it isn't anywhere right now because that was before we got on board with Thousand Islands. So we had just put it on ourselves. I think it was one of those things where you just pay a yearly subscription or whatever to have your stuff online. And I don't know, I don't remember what credit card that was, but it didn't renew. So I don't know. We're kind of we don't really like. I'm not. It's part of the band's lore. I'm not gonna like disown it or anything, but it's kind of where we're at now. It's kind of a different place. So we weren't heartbroken that it wasn't renewed. So we haven't really made any desperate pleas. I know we made 100 CDs. So if you can get your paws on a CD, I think I kept one. The rest of them we did sell. So they're out there or we gave them away or something, but
Excuse me. And also, Discogs is a great place to find those CDs as well, man. People tend to sell those rare projects though for like a hefty penny, which is sometimes kind of ridiculous, but I guess in a way, if they're selling from their personal collection, I guess they kind of want to get their money back, maybe 10 times more at the same time.
I'm pretty new to that site. I'd never been on it before until a couple of weeks ago. This rules. So I cataloged my entire vinyl collection last week. Like, this is right up my alley. So, but then yeah, it's sweet. Like some pressings and stuff of bands I love. Never even knew they had, these editions of CDs and stuff, and they're on there. I mean, who could afford to buy them? But but they're there.
I mean, a few weeks back, man, I actually found an old Gob CD that I actually had lost way back in the day when I was a young teenager, and then I went on Discogs and some guy was selling it in Toronto for $5. I was like, dude, I'm like sold.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But also as well, man, you guys actually had the opportunity to travel down here to the East Coast in Montreal to actually perform at their annual punk rock fest, Poozza Fest. I was wondering if you can actually tell our viewers a bit more about that trip to Montreal, and of course, what was it like just being on that car with so many other phenomenal bands?
Yeah, so that was one of the times that Ozone was not in the band. But that's not a good weekend for him anyways, because it's his kid's birthday. So he's never that excited if we try to book a show that weekend anyways. But yeah, because we're on a Eastern label of Thousand Islands. They're based out of Montreal. And at the time, I think they might even have been sponsors of it. Or if it wasn't them, it was Punk and Normal Activity, like the blog that they also have. So I don't know, just through our connections with them, they were able to get us on the bill. And yeah, we went out there, did a little, can't remember. We were out there for 10 days or something, did as many shows as we could leading up to Poozza. Then we just enjoyed the festival after we played. But yeah, it was, I mean, it's not like we were up on the big stage with Face to Face and stuff. We were at a Cleopatra's, whatever they call it, cafe or something. And but we played with like our label mates, Charlie Bit My Finger. So we did a bunch of shows with them, and we ended up doing a split with them down the line, which is whole nother story and adventure. But yeah, it was actually pretty packed in there when we played, which I was not expecting. There was people I'd never seen before in my life singing our songs, and so that was pretty cool. We were pretty new to Thousand Islands actually, but at that point, like maybe a year in, maybe. So it's definitely pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. We've never tried to get back on it again, but we do have plans to head out east again eventually. We'll just got to see how it all plays out. If we get any invites or anything.
And when you were actually out in Montreal, did you guys actually have any issues like navigating with it being French? Because I went out there to Montreal for the first time, and I got to say, it was definitely such a huge environment. Once you actually travel from Ontario and you just cross that border, just that threshold past that sign, everything instantly changes, man. It was so weird.
Well, I mean, Montreal is pretty multicultural, so you can get by with English there. When we did go to, because we played a show in Quebec City as well, we had Bruno with us, another guy as well, this Vincent dude. So we had translators, but it was actually kind of funny because the two places we went in Quebec City, everyone spoke English. And Bruno was like, "This is unusual that everybody you're meeting speaks English here in Quebec City because it's a lot more francophony, whatever you want to say, in Quebec City as compared to Montreal." So, but we always, pretty much for the most part, we had somebody with us who was fluent in French, so we didn't have an issue really. I mean, I can read a little bit of French just because, like everyone, we took it till we were 15 or 16 or whatever in school, but definitely not confident speaking it or understanding it spoken out loud.
And also as well, July 8th of 2022, you guys actually released a phenomenal 12-track album titled Future Considerations. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners just a story behind this brand new album. And of course, where can we actually buy or stream ourselves a copy of it today? Because I do know that you guys currently have some vinyls currently actually circulating to be purchased.
Yeah, I'll let Ozone take this one.
Yeah, I guess the story behind it is I don't even remember when the three of us started jamming together. It was about, I would say, a solid like year that we had played together. We played some shows, and we said, you know what, it's probably time that we actually release an album that all three of us play on. So we started writing. Well, Josh had a bunch of demos, but I think we started playing them together last September. We got them all down, and then we went in to see Casey Lewis at his studios, Echo Base, and yeah, we did that for a couple of weeks in February, and then yeah, we released it in July. A couple singles before that, and yeah, it's available everywhere. Right? If you want vinyl, head over to the Thousand Islands web store, and best way to get it there, unless you're in Alberta, and then just hit us up. But
And I gotta say as well, the one song off that project that is absolutely my favorite is actually "Blip on the Radar," man. That's honestly when I listen to your guys' album, that's my go-to joint, and then I start at the beginning and listen to the rest, man. "Blip on the Radar" is phenomenal.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. That's definitely a true collab, that song, because I think I had the bass line skeleton of a song that I brought to the guys, and Ozone added in a bridge, came up with a bass riff that we ended up building off of, and then I don't know how it happened, but Riley, the drummer, was like, "Guys, mind if I write the words?" So and then we decided because drumming and singing's hard, I'm told, at the same time. I don't know. I'm not a drummer. Is that hard? So that's kind of why we decided I'll sing half the verses, he'll sing half, and then he can sing the chorus, and we'll do gains for the chorus. And yeah, so as far as collaborations go, and that doesn't even go like when we recorded with Casey, he ended up having some awesome ideas as well that he's like, "Oh, let's try this, let's try that," and so we kind of like really fleshed the song out. So yeah, we're definitely stoked on that song. Riley's like, "Why does everyone like that one? I hate having to sing." Well, you shouldn't have wrote a catchy song with us, man. You're stuck playing it forever now.
And also as well, I actually read that album was actually recorded at Echo Base Studios in Calgary, where you guys actually worked with Casey Lewis. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about, just working in that studio and, of course, being able to collaborate and work alongside Casey Lewis on this phenomenal project.
yeah, Josh and I had been in Echo Base in 2012 with our old band Chimp Change, so that's how we got to meet Casey for the first time. And then, over the years, kind of stayed in contact and whatever. So, we were trying to decide where to go. And I had worked with him again in other projects too. So I'm like, I love going there. I love super comfortable studio. Casey's an awesome guy. And the product, I think, speaks for itself, right? Like if anyone knows skate punk, it's Casey. So normally exactly what we're thinking. He knows what we're thinking before we're even thinking it, but it's always perfect. So yeah, it's really, really good. So, and then, yeah, every time we go in there, he seems to be just refining it a little bit more, just to get even closer to exactly what we're going for. So that's always fun.
And I got to say as well, he definitely did some phenomenal work on that project. You guys actually have plans to work with him again on your guys' next project. I do know you're probably not really thinking about a next album yet because you're still pushing this project, but I just got to throw that out there, man, because you guys did some phenomenal work with him.
Yeah, we'll definitely use him again.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, for sure. I can't say enough good things about him. He totally understood our vision. And, there's a few times where he pretty much told us what we were playing was clashing, like, not like a dick about it, but like, yeah, that what you're doing is weird. So we're like, actually broke it down and played it, ended up changing the riff, and it actually worked out better, right? So, like, I have no problem with an outside ear telling me, hey, that's a little wonky. Why don't you try this? But in our own credit, we worked our butts off preparing because, like, recording 12 songs we didn't do it in the original block of time we had paid for. We had to add a few days, but like that's like a tall order. You got to be ready because every minute, time is money. You can't be dinking around and not having shit written when it's you're on the clock. You only have 8 hours or 7 hours or whatever we're doing a day to get as much done as possible. You don't have time to waste and be writing stuff. So, like, and a lot of credit to Riley, like, and Ozone, like, they take their bass and drum parts and got that part out of the way pretty quick, right? And opened up the week for us for sure. And it's less editing that Casey has to do on the drums when they're played properly, right? So
I gotta say, man, one take in the guitar, man, is actually difficult, especially in the studio. Like, obviously on a stage is completely like easy for you guys, but in a studio, you got to get that. You just got to get that rhythm perfect, man. So the fact that you guys did that is just absolutely talented.
Yeah, like obviously there was some tweaks and stuff he did. Like, we're not robots, but I'm just looking back to when we first recorded with him and how many times Ozone had to redo the drums. You can just tell, like, we weren't ready then and we were ready this time. So it's, the fact that he's like, yeah, I think I got everything I need after they played it once. It's like, you sure? Like, we did this like 14 times last time. I'm not knocking Ozone as a drummer. Obviously, he's an excellent drummer as well.
It just shows the chemistry as well, because back then, Ozone was actually fairly new to Trashed Ambulance. So it shows that all the shows that you guys did and whatnot, it really built the chemistry between you three to be able to go in there and knock it out the park.
Yeah, well, the first time is back when we were in Chimp Change. I guess I should have clarified. So different band, and Ozone was on the drums. So it was definitely, we were not prepared that time. We were this time, is I guess what I was trying to get at. So.
And also as well, I know you mentioned, Josh, I could throw out earlier on in the interview with how you guys are currently signed to a label out of Montreal, Quebec called Thousand Islands Records. I just got to touch base on that because I do know that they actually released this brand new phenomenal project as well. But I was wondering, how did you guys actually get connected with them, man? Because obviously you guys are out there on the West Coast, Thousand Islands Records out here on the East in Quebec. Like, how did you guys actually land that opportunity and that deal?
Yeah, so as I kind of mentioned before, they also had or still do have a blog called Punk Normal Activity. I don't know if you ever checked it out. Reviews, interviews, stuff like that. Just random punk news. And at the time, they were kind of just doing an all call for writers. And I ended up hopping on board there and doing some reviews for them. Ended up running a podcast for them for, I don't know, quite a few years. Can't remember how many episodes, but so anyways, I got to know Bruno that way. And then when we had our EP called Dime for Every Time, which, what did you play on that one? Was that guitar again on that one?
I think so, yeah.
I don't even know if you were in the band. I think you just kind of just played guitar on it because you were bored. I can't remember if you've ever, maybe you played him live with us a couple times, but either way, I had found out that Thousand Islands was a thing. And at that point, he kind of just had like Montreal bands, like there's Down Memory Lane, Colors Fade, and a couple other bands. I think they might have had one Ontario band, but nobody from out west. So I sent him the EP just being like, what, why not, right? And turns out he enjoyed it and just said, yeah, hell yeah, I'll put that out. I mean, they were a lot smaller back then, so maybe the bar to clear wasn't as high as it might be now. But so yeah, he put that out, and then it just kind of, I got, obviously at this point, we're friends with Bruno and Cynthia, his wife, who's the helps run the ship there as well. So they just pretty much said, because I even said to them too, because I don't know if you're familiar with who they've been signing lately, but Belvedere's on that label. What else have they put out? Vulture Wake, which is Chad Price from All's new band. And like what it started, it was they put out a 10-foot pole comeback record, right? So that kind of put them on the map. So I even said to him, like, man, like, you sure you want Trashed Ambulance on your label? And he's like, as long as you guys are putting out music I like, I'll always put it out. So kudos to him for being a loyal dude. So we're definitely flattered that we can tell people we're on the same label as Belvedere. But yeah, that's kind of how I met him. And then I just send them whenever we have new music. I send it to them, and they keep putting it out. So I'm not gonna screw up a good thing.
Hey, definitely don't try and fix what is not broken, man. Like, I try my best to keep up with everything they're putting out, but they're putting out so many amazing projects all the time, man. It's actually getting hard to actually keep up, but that just shows that they're doing proper business, man, if they're attracting all these phenomenal bands like yourselves.
Yeah, definitely. They came out and visited, was it October? Yeah, October. Yeah. So, and Bruno just kind of showed me his inbox, and it was just like probably 20 a day of bands like trying to get on board, right? They're making waves, obviously, and people want to get on board, but can't sign everything. Not everything's a fit, but so I guess we're stoked that we're able to be a part of it for sure, because they just keep growing.
And also, as well, last night you guys had the opportunity to share the stage with a fellow punk rock band, Chuck Spadina. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal show. And of course, do you actually have any other gigs lined up? That way our viewers can actually snag some tickets and come and see Trashed Ambulance live in full effect.
Yeah, so that was kind of our vinyl release party, which we booked when we did not have the vinyl. But long story short, there's been some hiccups at the pressing plant, and we were able to get 80 of our green vinyls, so we still need a lot more, plus our pink vinyls, which should be pretty much any day now. We'll be getting the rest of them. But yeah, so we booked that not knowing if we'd have it. So we actually, right on the poster, we put maybe vinyl release. But thankfully it showed up. And yeah, they actually told us their name is pronounced Chuck Spadina. I was saying Spadina as well. So according to them, they say it's Spadina. So I guess I'll take their word for it because it's their band.
Well, my apologies, guys. My apologies. I will not mess it up again. I promise you guys. I know you guys are watching, so definitely shout out to them, but I will not fuck it up again.
Yeah, that was actually the first. Well, I'd met John, the singer, before. He actually tried out for Trashed Ambulance years ago. Sorry, John. Seeing you on stage, maybe we made the wrong call not hiring you at that point. But if we did, he wouldn't have made his new band. So, but yeah, they were really good. We also brought down our buddies Upside Down Man out of Calgary. They're working on a new record to be out next year, so we're stoked to hear that. And yeah, it was probably the busiest Red Deer show that was just us, not us opening for, like, we opened for Face to Face once. Obviously that was a busier show, but the people weren't there to see us. But so yeah, huge credit to Chuck Spadina for bringing out tons of people, and some people, I guess lots of them stuck around to watch us and bought a crap ton of vinyl. So yeah, that was a great show. It was a great way to end the year, but we don't have a ton on the bill yet. We have some ideas, but I guess we should probably get on that because it's going to be next year before we know it.
Yeah, the December's like January's creeping up, man. I was actually sitting back looking at the calendar thinking, like, man, January is still far away. Then I look, I'm like, oh, damn, like it's like a week before Christmas. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready, man.
Yeah, 2023 doesn't even sound like a real year. It's just like, that's not a year.
Yeah, time definitely flies, man. But I have to ask, man, what is next for you guys, Trashed Ambulance? Because obviously, I know you guys said you're working on some things, but like, what is next for you guys going into 2023? Is there any plans for any new records or anything like that? Anything we missed during this interview that you guys still want to touch base on and talk about? Well, we still got you here live on the radio.
Ozone.
Yeah, we got, like we said, we got nothing concrete yet for 2023. I mean, we've got basically the music for half another album ready to go. So whether we decide to do another full length or an EP, or I mean, a couple bands have approached us, but maybe doing a split too. So we'll see how the songs end up, and then how many more we write, and then decide what to do from that point. There'll be some other stuff early in the year that will happen, but just won't say live yet because it's not announced. And I mean, we're hoping to just play a lot more shows, get out to the east side of Canada, probably, late summer. And I don't know, maybe some other, what is it, sticks in the fire, but we'll see. We got some ambitious plans. We're just trying to see if it's going to happen. So.
Hey, well, I'll definitely keep watch on those East Coast plans, man, because I would definitely love to come out and see a Trash Ambulance show live in full effect, man. Because I do know we got a lot of great festivals in between Ottawa and Montreal, man. So I'm definitely going to be there if you guys come to the East Coast.
It's on our list for sure. It's just we don't want to jinx it. We got stuff that we're hoping will work out, but we don't know yet for sure. But we definitely, like, how many shows did we play last year? Like, 30 some,
around 30, yeah.
Which is pretty good for some old guys. Not even that old, but we're not able to do it full time. We can't go on 2-month tours because we work and have families and stuff. So we just make do with what's in front of us and try to do as much cool stuff as we can before we can't do it anymore.
But also, guys, before we actually part ways this evening, I got to ask, man, what are your guys' social media handles? That way our listeners and viewers can actually slide on through to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and follow not only Trash Ambulance as a band, but also the individual members as well.
For myself, well, I guess we'll do the band first. Just Trashed Ambulance on Facebook, Trashed Ambulance on Instagram, and Trashed Ambo on Twitter. I think we might have a what's that one, TikTok, but I think Ozone runs that. I've never been on TikTok before.
I couldn't figure it out. I deleted it.
Yeah, we're pretty cringe as it is on the platforms we have, at least according to our wives. So I could just see us being like phenomenally cringe on TikTok. So. But I don't do a ton of personal. Like, I have a Twitter, just JAWSH86. If anyone wants to follow me on there, I don't know why you would. I don't do a ton on there, but I guess one thing else that we should say is Ozone and I also run our own record label, and they're called High End Denim Records. So if you want to follow us on there, there's tons of cool bands on there. Like, we put out the new Maroons record. They're a pretty sweet skate punk band out of Calgary, so help them out. Who else do we have? Yeah, Short Straps. We got some other bands that are wanting to sign with us, which we need to have a meeting here and chat about it after this. So thanks for the reminder. Yeah, like Safety Gear and other. That's actually Riley, our drummer's second of like many bands that he's in. Put out their stuff, and then helped out with a German band called Hit the Dirt.
Just released a Christmas song last Friday.
They just did a Christmas song, their version of Dreaming of a White Christmas, so that was pretty cool. Then yeah, Sessions out of Lethbridge. We helped them put out an EP, and I feel like we're gonna miss someone and piss them off, but but then there's also our side bands that we do: Burning Nickels, Boltergeist, stuff like that. Off Sailors from town. I helped start that band and just don't have the time to do it, but they're going. They're playing shows now, so it's pretty sweet to see that. So yeah, I would say if you wouldn't mind checking out that label, we're trying to build it into something. I mean, maybe one day we'll be cool enough to sign Trash Ambulance, but not yet.
And I have to ask, since we're on the topic of this label right quick before we actually part ways here this evening. Obviously, like you mentioned, even when we were speaking about Thousand Islands Records, there's a lot of bands that are looking to get signed. Are you guys taking band submissions? And if so, like, if any bands are watching, what's the proper process that you want them to go through rather than just DMing you a crap ton of links? I know there's always a process for every single business that really likes things done in a certain way and in a professional manner as well.
I think the easiest is just like your expectations off the start, right? Like, we get a lot of submissions and then we work with them, and it's like, what do you want? And basically all they want is just us to do like the advertising for them, right? Which is fine, right? But we're not just going to do that without signing you to the label, right? At least for some reason, right? We're not a free PR firm. So yeah, expectations what you want. Like, we don't have an unlimited budget because I mean, Trash Ambulance does a lot of stuff and it costs a lot of money. So we don't have deep pockets to, fund vinyl or anything for any of the other bands yet. But yeah, I mean, just, expectations. What are you wanting us to just listen to the tunes and say those are sweet? Or do you want to, work and try to do a run of cassettes or something that's more within reach?
I think with some bands as well, some people need to realize too that, like, with the music industry, there's not a lot of money really in this unless you're bands like Blink-182 or Sum 41 and stuff like that. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of money in this music industry anymore. It's not 1999 anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, and it just depends too. Like Ozone was saying, like for us to buy pay for a bunch of CDs, like CDs and a lot of physical vinyl, unless you're a well-known band, it's not going to sell unless you're at a show. So for us to have a stack of CDs from some band, like it's cool. We're happy to help, but like we're gonna have trouble moving those just because it's just not it's a tall order, right? Like even Thousand Islands Records, they have trouble selling CDs, right? Like just the nature, right? People want vinyl now or whatever. Maybe they just want to stream it. That's just what they're gonna do. Like they don't want a physical copy. So yeah, it's definitely what we can help is, we're building a community of bands that help each other. We're, like you need help getting a show set up in Alberta and BC, Saskatchewan, we can help you there, like we have contacts out in Ontario and Quebec. But it's pretty much just like you said, what do you want? Like if you want somebody to sign this massive deal so you can send you around the world, like even Fat Records doesn't pay very well anymore, right? Like it's the state of the music industry. But want to have a fun time? We're probably not the one, but we'll try to have fun.
we can get your music in people's ears, right? But yeah, not just for fun.
But I got to say, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for just, taking the time during this holiday season just to chop it up with Punk World Radio FM and talk about this brand new, phenomenal record you guys got going on. And of course, your guys' history throughout the punk rock community, man. It was such an honor to speak with both of you. And I wish you nothing but the best during this holiday season. And hopefully down the line, we can actually make this happen again sometime soon.
Yeah. Hey, man, where is Prescott?
Prescott is actually in between Ottawa and Kingston, so it's literally a little town. If you drive through Main Street, you blink, you miss it. It's about 3,000 people. So we're about 45 minutes from Ottawa and about an hour drive from Kingston.
Okay. Is there punk shows going on in Prescott, or do you guys got to go to other cities?
We pretty much have to go to like either Ottawa, Kingston. I know Kingston recently had Gob when they did their last little mini tour. So pretty much you got to go in between Kingston and Ottawa to really get the punk shows. Here in Prescott, it's I love my town. If anyone's listening that is local, I'm sorry, but it's a hick town. It's more of a redneck. People drive lawnmowers down the road. I shit you not. It's the most weirdest thing ever.
Hey man, we live in Alberta. We're not judging.
But yeah, it definitely is a. As for Prescott itself, not really a punk rock community, but if you travel about 40 minutes. There's punk rock shows galore. So it definitely is kind of a great area to live, but you also got to drive a little bit to actually get to the fun stuff.
45 minutes is not much, man.
Not much at all, actually.
The West is pretty spread out. Aside from Calgary and Edmonton, there's not a whole lot going on for us. So Red Deer's about 100,000 people. But that show on Friday made me think that there is a punk scene here, and we just gotta nurture it. So we got to work cut out for us in 2023 for sure.
Hey, but I think 2023 is the year for Trashed Ambulance, man. I'm definitely looking forward to just seeing what you guys actually do next year, man. But for now, definitely have yourselves a phenomenal night. And of course, happy holidays to you and yours as well.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you having us on.
Hey, I appreciate you guys as well. Thank you so much, man. We'll definitely talk soon.
Peace.
Bye.